You have all been contracted to offer support in the fight for Solaris. This base is of the utmost importance to a collection of factions from the homeland, partly for its focus on renewable energy studies regarding radio and light spectrum technologies. Your strike team is one of 4 from the homeland. You even recognize a few familiar faces. I'm sure you all recognize one another. You even saw a few familiar faces on the other helicopters. For example, there's one that has, Oscar and the Monster Girl squad. There's one that has, Torque, and a hand. Actually, that was like a really Frankenstein group of random faction members hanging out there. We had Brewster present, Torque, Rabbit, Reggie and stuff. But you're in your helicopter. You've been flying for hours, probably a few hundred miles at this point. Probably close to 1,000, 3,000, who knows. But you're approaching the base. And you know you're approaching the base because in the distance you see what looks like a second sun. It's really bright. It's almost impossible to look at directly. And every so often, you folks can catch a glimpse and you see the really tall black buildings. Their silhouettes in the distance and that super bright source of light. Suddenly there's a page over the intercom. We got to build up ahead, thick clouds, brace yourself for turbulence.
Fuck, they have put some seats in, so copy, damn it. Alright.
So picture the back of the helicopter that you guys are in. These are double propellered helicopters. They're huge. There's cargo and stuff that's normally a ship would use, so plenty of room. Anyone would like to roll a perception or D20? Give it a shot.
18.
Who got an 18?
Crow.
7.
That's why he's the good brother.
Crow, I'm going to say you see it first, and then as you're watching, others kind of, look to where you're looking. But in the distance, you see the turbulence that the pilot was talking about. Really thick clouds, really heavy-looking clouds. They're swirling in and out. It looks like there's a pressure change kind of going on inside of it. Because you rolled really well, you also see what looks like a shark fin or something kind of cut through and then disappear back into the fog. Every so often you see another kind of fin kind of cut through and disappear back in. I need everyone to give me a D20 roll and let me know if you get lower than a 12.
I got an 8.
I got a 3.
5.
18. Clint, you're muted.
15.
And Alex, what'd you get? Also, what's your character's name, Alex?
It's probably easier to spell it. It's pronounced physics.
Physics?
Zyzix. Z-Y-Z-X.
Z, gotcha.
I'm going to rename you to that, actually.
Nice.
I got a 15, by the way.
By the way, for those of you who push to talk like I do, you can mute yourself and press spacebar to unmute temporarily.
All right. Those of you who got under was it a 12 or a 13?
You said 12.
Those of you who got under a 12, you're jostled around as you get into that turbulent cloud coverage, and it doesn't feel good as you're kind of getting thrown about in your seat. Your belt digs into your hips and at your shoulders. But suddenly there's a second wave of turbulence as something heavy crashes into the side of your helicopter. Crow, you actually see that the helicopter's in front of you. You're flying in a almost diamond formation. You folks are off to the right. The one that entered the fog first, just before it disappeared into it, you see it just got crashed into by a massive flying creature.
Well, shit! There's more stuff out there.
There's a horrible screech of bone cutting through steel, or not really bone, but anyway, as a a pair of claws dig into the wall behind Osprey, Chronic, and Anna. 2 claws cut into the steel and start tearing downward. We're gonna hop into initiative.
Oh shit!
Oh shit!
Oh,
God
shit.
damn it!
I need other.
A lot of oh shit.
One moment.
We know what we're about.
Mac and cheese and different variants.
God, this thing sets weird without the.
Does yeah. Osprey, I don't know what you're talking me into, but I think we're gonna die here.
Yeah, probably.
You'll be fine.
But
You
it'll
get
be
used to
fun.
dying.
I guess it will be. You know, I got 1 bullet in this thing, and it's gonna go right here if something goes wrong.
Don't do that. Don't
All
cop
right.
out.
Don't cop out. Okay, if all of you are dead and I'm the last one left, then I am gonna fucking cop out.
Did anyone get a 20?
Oh, for initiative?
Yeah.
Heck, no.
I got a 1.
All
How
right.
do you?
19.
19. That was that, Chronic?
Yep.
Anyone get a 18 through 15?
15.
14 through 11?
I got
14.
13.
What?
13.
What did you
14
get?
for physics.
Physics. 14. 13. And what did you get, Osprey?
I got a 7.
All right. Top of the list is Chronic. These set of claws kind of tears in and starts yanking at the steel. You feel the helicopter shudder as something seems to be lashing onto the bottom of it as well. What would you like to do?
Can I see anything to hit?
You see the claws kind of cutting through and the movement on the other side. There are windows, but you're going to have to get out of your seat and like position yourself if you want to.
Yeah, I'm gonna get up and see if I can get any sort of bead on it.
Okay. Roll me a d20.
9.
You get up and you go towards like the rear of the cargo area, and the helicopter being kind of like thrown around. You stumble over and kind of just like most of your turn is spent like keeping your balance and not smashing into the metal walls around you.
Yeah.
As these claws continue to tear and pull at the sides of the helicopter. Next is Anna.
The wall it's being grabbed onto, can I shock zap it?
Yeah, sure. Make an attack roll.
14.
Okay. So you rush over to the area that the claws are in and you apply electricity. It's enough to deter it, and you feel the helicopter shudder as it kind of pushes off to not get electrocuted.
Oh, hell, good job, cowboy.
Oh, hell yeah.
Damn.
Zizix, you can feel the weight of the one that's hanging onto the bottom of the helicopter still.
Okay, so for loadout, like, do I have standard weapons at all?
Yep, you all can have your normal weapons or...
Okay. I'm gonna
Brought
try to
30
hang out the
guns.
helicopter and get a look at this thing.
You're gonna what?
So I'm a robot, by the way.
Okay.
I'm gonna go to the edge of the helicopter, clamp on to the bay doors, and hang the rest of my body out.
Okay.
Try to get a look at what this thing is.
Roll me a d20.
Roger, Roger. I'm a robot designed after proprietary robot technology. Roger, Roger. Sing Disney songs. I got a 5.
Right. You go over and you latch on to the edge of the
All
cargo
to my
area.
dev.
And yeah, you open up the door to the cargo area, and there's like an instant pressure change.
Yeah.
and obviously, like, it kind of kicks open, and you all see this robot kind of like get up. Do you have legs or do you have wheels?
I think legs, but probably many legs.
Okay. You see them kind of like go over and open the door. Immediately, they just get yanked out the door.
That robot just kill itself? What the hell?
Damn.
Oh, damn, that's hardcore.
That was great.
Symbiote.
Actually,
Wow.
Clint, I'm gonna say you're the one that's closest to the door, and you see this robot barely hanging onto the door.
What the fuck are you doing?
Essentially, if you want to try to pull them in,
Give me your
Attention to
pendant or
reconnaissance.
whatever. Come the fuck over here.
Attention to
yeah, I'll
reconnaissance. Reconnaissance failed. Critical systems overload.
Yeah, you can tell me about how this whole new world's going to happen in a moment. All right, get back on the fucking boat. Come here.
All right,
So do I
I'm
roll
like
for that?
climbing. Yeah,
give me a
save
roll.
me. Save me.
12.
all right.
12.
It's enough for you to kind of just like rush over. You hook your arm around his, and you just fall back into the cockpit essentially. As you do, he kind of rushes in, and the fog that's on the outside kind of starts to bellow in. Pretty much instantly, it starts to fill the cargo space just because of the change of pressure, and it is hot, it is muggy, and it's heavy. I need everyone to roll me a dice as this fog starts kind of rushing in.
Natural 20.
What kind of dice?
D20.
Oh,
It'll be a D20 almost all the time.
okay. If I wanted to roll a D percentile.
A 5.
I mean, you could, I guess.
It's alright, I got a 7.
Roll a percentile and divide by 5.
Yeah, exactly. I guess like any dice works.
Yeah. I got a 12.
Hey, all right. Anyone get under a 10?
Natural 20.
All right. Clint and Chronic. It's heavy, and it almost like washes over you with like fatigue, just with how like clammy and uncomfortable it is.
Oh God.
It's not causing you pain, but it's just like a really overbearing amount of pressure.
I got
It's
hit
the
by that
desert's not this shit. No.
Yeah. As it kind of washes into the cockpit or the. not the
Too
cockpit,
similar.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Very good.
crew compartment.
Yeah, as the fog washes into the crew compartment, through the open door that Zizix just got pulled back in through, a huge beak with serrated kind of teeth kind of worked up to the inside. Picture like a goose's mouth where it's just hell, where it's just teeth and tongue everywhere. Burst inward, and you see a pterodactyl's head burst in. It's going to try to attack Zizix because you're probably closest.
Yeah.
I need you to roll and beat an 11.
Rolling. 13.
All right. It tries to snap at you, but it's just out of reach. Its shoulders preventing it from getting properly inside of the
Fuck you.
helicopter. The one that was below, however, its head suddenly also pops in the hangar area. Not the hangar area. I guess it could be. There's like a hole in like the base where cargo's easily put in and taken out, and you folks can see this thing is just starting to try to like climb in to the helicopter near you. There's gunfire going off around from the helicopters before you, and the one in the foremost part of the diamond shape is like on fire. It's very quickly being overtaken by pterodactyls. Next on the list is Osprey.
Is there any like a gun for like a gunner's door or anything like that on this thing?
There is a minigun that you can pilot.
Oh hell yeah! I like rush over to that, immediately grab it, and attempt to saw the pterodactyl in half with bullets.
All right.
I rolled a 2.
Oof. I rolled a 1.
Oh shit!
So, while your aiming is bad, to say the least, you kind of whip the gun to the side and you catch the one that's crawling in, trying to bite Zizix. You catch it just under its wings, enough for it to get annoyed and flap away quickly. You hear some metal clangs though, as a bit of your bullets kind of spray upward and cut into the side of the helicopter.
Oh,
So
do
you're
it.
firing that shit.
The pilot pages over the intercom. He's like, "Hey, can you not point that at our own vessel, real quick?"
Yeah, I'm not used to the real big ones. Cowboy, you want to give a hand?
Sure.
Oh wait, Cowboy. Oh, you already went.
Yep.
Okay. Next is Crow.
So do I see this thing with claws inside the ship still, or like its head or anything?
Osprey just shot one off enough to like scare it essentially for a little while, but the other is trying to pull its way in. It actually has one of its arms kind of.
Oh, it has an arm in there? Oh, cool. I'm going to try to cut off its arm. I'm going to run along the side of the ship and jump off the wall to give myself some more momentum, and I'm going to try to slice right through its arm.
Hell yeah. Do you want to expend like a maim or anything like that?
Yeah.
You can roll with advantage if you do.
You know what? No, I'm not going to use maim. But I will just take the roll. I have a 15 on the die.
Okay. You rush forward, you cut deep into it. It lets out a horrifying pain scream. Blood squirts onto the side of the helipad. And this one also just is like, fuck this, I'm not going to stick around and get chopped up. I can't really see in there. There's another shutter. I need everyone to roll to maintain your balance. Actually, Osprey, you're inside of a gun. You don't have to roll. You're inside
dope.
of it.
19.
15.
18.
18.
It's a 6.
You need to roll for me, right? It's this fucking program is slow. 7.
Okay. Everyone is able to hold on despite this sudden like heavy weight that just smashed into the front of the helicopter. Zizix, who's trying to pick himself up, just gets like thrown to the front, thrown to the front of the helicopter.
You need me to tie you down?
Not having for a thing with so many legs, it's really not very balanced.
It's more just like the machine, like balance isn't the problem. It's kind of like you can't even stay like
Right.
on the ground. You slam the back of like the cockpit area, and your programming, like your camera like shuts off for like a split second, and you like turn to like seeing. There's like a sound of glass shattering, and you hear your pilot just like yell out in pain. At the front of the helicopter, the glass has been shattered in, and a pterodon essentially is just smashed its head through and is now trying to like reach in and rip the pilot out of his seat. Top of the list is Chronic.
Did we come from the blessing for this, or did we come from?
You came from the homeland. Yep, you came from home. You all have ammo. You all have things you need. So.
Okay. I'm gonna try and lunge at it with a disease dagger.
Okay. Cool.
Let me roll.
Are you expending a use of disease?
So Ben gave me like a weird skill where I spend like 4 vit and coat the dagger. And I've been basically like keeping them into my back pouch for like future use, so I'm not like at the second like
Woozy.
Dying.
Cool. Sounds good. You can roll with advantage if you want to.
15 and 15 then.
Okay. What are you using? A knife or a sword or
Dagger.
Okay. going medieval on him. You rush into the cockpit, and this thing grabs hold of the pilot, starts to yank in, and you just bring a dagger down between its knuckles, and it screeches in pain, but it continues to hold until the wound starts to fester almost instantly, and it kind of like shakes its claw and reaches back. Next on the list is Anna.
All right, so is there still one at the back, correct?
There is one that's flying back towards you, but the ones that were connected, the one that Crow stabbed kind of like fucked off for a bit, and the one that Osprey shot flew away and then landed on the front of the helicopter.
Okay. So The one that's approaching from the back, I'm gonna yell at you, Osprey. I'm gonna yell, "This is how you use a big gun!" And I'm gonna turn with my my minigun and start blowing away the pterodactyl.
All right. I rolled real bad, so roll me some dice.
13.
All right. Yeah. You've been given a bunch of ammo to use. You're not used to that when you folks are out on the expedition, and you just put out a belt of bullets. It's enough for it to, as it gets close, you just shred one of its wings. It's just filled with holes. It tries to continue to fly, but it just kind of like spins out and falls out of the fog. You see it like disappear. Every so often, God rays will pass through into the fog. You must be approaching the end of the patch, essentially. Zizix, your turn.
Okay. So was that the pterodon that was in the cockpit, or that's a different one, right?
That's the one that was like coming up from below. The one that's in the cockpit is still on the front of the helicopter.
Okay. Is there like a door that goes into the cockpit, or is it completely sealed off from the cargo bay? I mean, there must be a door.
It's a doorway. It's open.
Right. Okay.
In there.
Okay. Chronic sorry, I missed it because I was reading the rules. Is Chronic manipulating the controls at all?
No, the pilot's doing his best to like hang on, but the copter's like.
Right. I'm trying to avoid us dying. So, are there any like? I want to try to control this helicopter without actually getting into the pilot area, since they'll probably get me stabbed by a giant pterodon. I guess I'm going to try to like plug into the helicopter's like network to see if I can access the controls indirectly that way.
You can roll me a d20 to attempt to hack your way in.
Okay.
Or jack your way in, whatever.
Oh, good. A natural one. It's the most incompetent robot.
Yeah.
You're doing great.
You try to plug in like directly, and it just doesn't work. You are not R2. You check the Wi-Fi signals, and all you can find is like Big Balls house internet, like
McDonald's Wi-Fi.
Yeah. But you're unable to connect to the helicopter.
You connect to my Bluetooth instead.
Yeah.
Yeah, you hear my voice in your head. You just say, Wah!
So I'm like, what the hell are you doing?
All you hear is like elevator music.
That's true, yeah. Osprey gets down in elevator music.
Next is Clint.
I'm going to go over to the cockpit, and I will, since we don't have a lot of bullets, I'll shoot it. Unless I can reach it like with my weapons normally.
You can, yeah. Chronic's up there stabbing it in the hand, so if you want.
Oh, cool. I'm going to go to it. I'm actually going to try to get this thing out of the cockpit immediately, and I'm going to crushing blow it to try and get it like to go just out the cockpit window.
Nice.
If you're expending a crushing blow, you get to roll with advantage.
Good thing I got that 20. Nice.
Damn.
Because the first one was a 3.
Nat 20. How are you fucking this thing's arm up?
So is it its head or just its arm that's in?
It's kind of both. It gnashes glass out of the way, and it's reaching in with its left wing.
I want to hit it in the eye.
You rush forward. What are you using for your weapon?
I have a sword.
Okay. You crush with this sword, and the skull like caves in just at the eye. It forces its beak down, and it smacks its head against like the console essentially, and now it's dead. It's gushing blood like inside and outside of the windshield, but it's like clinging on because its arm was just like hanging inward. It's starting to pull the helicopter like downward. Pterodactyl's turn. The other one was shot to bits, I believe, right? His wing was all shot up. Okay. Yep. Another pterodon, it's smaller than the other, lands. Also on the front, the helicopter tilts, and it kind of yanks the other one out of the way. It recognizes that it's just dead matter. It's not helping out. And it snaps at you, Clint. Roll me a d20 and beat an 11.
Well, I did the first part. I got 6.
Okay.
Ooh.
You crush this thing's head, and it falls like flat. But like almost the moment it like kind of goes limp, the other one kind of hops in, rips back the other pterodactyl. It's the other pterodactyl's wing is actually just what like falling out is what like catches you. It hits you in the face and like is enough of a force with the helicopter moving forward to like push you back, so that way you're with the others back in like the cargo or crew seating area. It pushes itself upward and starts like just like going at the glass as best as it can. When suddenly there's a burst of gunfire from a nearby helicopter, and actually, Osprey, roll me a perception if you want to see what's going on.
No, I'm way too busy interacting with these gun controls.
Okay.
I'm playing like, I don't know, cookie clicker or some shit. I rolled a 1.
Yeah, it's like Tetris plus minigun.
Yep.
Perfect. So you don't see why, but is that her right now? Leela's hanging out under my chair, and you just showed me a picture. I didn't even know she was over here. There's you don't really see where it comes from, but there's just like a line of bullets just tear this pterodactyl in half, like at its torso.
Pterodactyls it?
It what?
It pterodactyls it?
Pterodactyls it? Yes, tear, like, yeah. All right.
Nice.
Stop.
Well,
Very
you
good.
all died. Sorry.
Not again.
Damn it, Clint!
Damn it!
Always happens.
The top half of the pterodactyl kind of catches like the wind and smacks into the propellers above, and there's just a spray of blood.
Nice.
As the mist of that clears, you see that you've descended enough to kind of like fall out of the fog. So it's no longer blinding fog. However, as you're like kind of cutting through, cutting downward, that bright light from Solaris is shining on you. You're probably gonna crash. Osprey, it's your turn.